Hello everyone. Today we will talk about the writer, the poet of A Sea of Foliage, lesson 10. So, like in the last class, I said that we will discuss more about the poet and also about the type of poem it is. So, A Sea of Foliage is a sonnet written by Toru Datta. So now at first we will discuss about the poet Toru Datta, and then we will discuss about what is sonnet. So here there is very little information in the book, so I have collected extra information about the poet from the internet, which I am going to tell you now, and please pay attention. Toru Datta was the first Indian poetess to write in French and English. Besides being a poet, she was also a novelist, essayist, and translator. So Toru Datta was the first woman, female poet, that's why she is called as poetess, to write in French and English. So she knew both English and French well enough to write poems and stories in those language, and that is why she is also called as polyglot. Polyglot is someone who has command and immense knowledge about other language besides their mother tongue. So it is not just knowing one or two words from another language, it is like having enough knowledge to write in that foreign language. So Toru Datta was also a polyglot because she had enough knowledge in English and French to write poems and novels and stories in those languages. So she was a novelist, essayist, someone who writes essay, and translator. She translated many French poems and stories into English. So, born as Toru Datta on March 4, 1856, Toru Datta was the youngest daughter of Govind Chandra Dutt. So, Toru Datta was the youngest daughter of Govind Chandra Dutt. Her family was wealthy and popular for their aristocracy. So, she was born into a very wealthy family. Wealthy means very rich, and her family was popular for aristocracy. That means aristocracy, people who are like very wealthy and powerful, and they are very powerful members of the society. They are not only rich, but they are powerful, and they live a very luxurious life. So it was during the 19th century. As remember, she was born in 1856, so at that time the luxurious way of living of that time and the luxurious way of living of the modern time is very different, but they were very popular as a very wealthy family. Both her parents favored the Western outlook and had great interest in literature and writing. So both her father and mother they were educated people, and they had great interest in reading and writing. So, and they favored the Western outlook. That means they favored the Western things. And remember, at that time, India was ruled by the British people. India was called as the British India. So naturally, the rich and the wealthy class of our society favored the Western outlook because they wanted to impress the rulers. Those are the British. And also at that time, Western people were considered as very civilized, and they were an Indian people. They were fascinated by their way of living, their living style, and especially their knowledge. And so the Indian people, especially the rich people and the wealthy class, they wanted to adopt the Western way of living, and also it was very popular at that time. And Toru was surrounded by intellectuals from a very young age and was first educated at home by private English tutors. So See, from a very young age, Toru was surrounded by intellectual. Intellectual means people who are very intelligent, people who are learned and educated, and they have vast knowledge about many different things. Those are called as intellectual. And she didn't go to school in India. She was first educated by an English tutor at home, and here English means like a British tutor. So their parents were very wealthy and rich enough to hire British tutor to educate their children. She, along with her family, then left for Europe, where she attended a French school in Nice in France. So see, after a while, her family left for Europe. That means they went to Europe and they lived there in Europe. And they lived in France. And there is a city in France called as Nice, which is very beautiful because of its natural scenery, and which is a very popular tourist spot. And I have given some pictures you can see here. So she attended a French school in Nice. Nice is a name of a city. There she got the chance to study French before moving to England in 1870. So she attended, when they were living in France, Toru Datta, she attended a French school, and there she learned the French language. And then they again moved to England. They did not stay in France for a long time. They after a few years they moved to England, and they started living in England in Cambridge, in a city called Cambridge, which is on city and which is extremely popular for the University of Cambridge. She translated and published A Sheaf Gleaned in French Fields, a volume of French poems. So she translated a huge volume of French poem. A promising writer, Toru's life was unfortunately cut short by tuberculosis at a very young age of 21 in the year 1877. So she was a very promising writer. Had she lived for more years, she would have produced a lot of works. But unfortunately, she died at a very young age of 21 due to tuberculosis. This was a time when there was no treatment for tuberculosis, and she died in the year 1877, just in a very young age of 21. And after dying, she left behind unfinished volumes of poems. So she was working on a lot of things. She perhaps wanted to publish them, but unfortunately she couldn't live to publish them, and so she left behind unfinished volumes of poems and novels, which were later published after her death by her father. So her father published those unfinished novels and poems after her death, but she didn't get to see them published. And so in a very short period of life, although she lived for a very short period, but she made an impact in the literary world by writing wonderful poems and also translating many French books and poems, and also writing in French and English. She had a huge impact in a very short period of her life. And I suggest after this video, there will be questions like write briefly about the life of Toru Datta, and in this video I will give you the written things, which will be here for a very long time. So I suggest you watch the video until the end. And now we will discuss about sonnet. See, this poem, A Sea of Foliage, is a sonnet. S-O-N-N-E-T. So what is a sonnet? The first primary quality of sonnet is it is a 14-line poem. So you can count the lines in the poem now. If you have your book with you right now, count the lines and you will see that there are 14 lines. So, but it is not the only quality of a sonnet. There are other qualities which I will explain to you now. What is a sonnet? A sonnet is a 14-line lyric poem that is divided into 4 sections. So it is a 14-line poem which is divided into 4 sections, and it is a lyric poem. What is a lyric? What is a lyric? Lyric. Sometimes we ask, do you know the lyrics to this song? That means the text that is in a popular song or a poem, that is a lyric. Something, if it is a poem that has a song-like quality which you can sing, that is called as a lyric poem. So sonnets are usually a lyric poem. That means you can sing them because they are written in such a way. And a sonnet is divided into 4 sections. The first 3 quatrains consist of 4 lines each. The 4th section has 2 lines. So the first 3 quatrains, what is the meaning of quatrain? Quatrain is a stanza of 4 lines. A stanza that consists of 4 lines is called as quatrain. So what I am sure you know the meaning of stanza. Even so I am telling you, stanza is a fixed number of lines that forms a unit in a poem. So if you write a poem of 12 lines and divide that into 3 lines, so that 3 line will form a unit in a poem, and that's how, and that 3 line will be the stanza. But if you divide it into 4 lines, and then that 4 line will form a unit in a poem, and that 4 line will be considered as a stanza. So in a sonnet, that quatrain, that means that stanza must consist of 4 lines, and there must be 2 quatrains. That means 2 stanzas that consisting of 4 lines. And the last part, I already told you, it is divided into 4 sections. So 3 sections, that means 3 units of that poem contains 4 lines. How many are there? 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. So a sonnet, as a sonnet, consists of 14 lines. To the last 2 lines, that means the last section, consists of only 2 lines. The first 3 quatrains consist of 4 lines each. The 4th section has 2 lines. So the 4th section has only 2 lines. It has a fixed pattern of rhyme which varies in each sonnet. So that sonnet has a fixed pattern of rhyme. So rhyme, what is the meaning of rhyme? You have got this in nursery class. So rhymes are the words that have that sound similar. A rhyme is the most important factor in a poem, because without rhymes, I don't think you can call it a poem, because that is the most important and the most beautiful quality of a poem. It rhymes. The words at the end rhymes, and that is the most important quality of the poem, because it has rhyming word, and that is why you can turn it into a song. If you see if you hear a song, what is the most important quality? It is written in such a manner that it not only expresses the sentiments of the singer, but it also writes the words in such a manner that the words sound so similar to each other. And also rhymes are very important, because when the words rhyme, it is very easy to memorize them. It just remains in your mind for a very long period of time, and that is why in the nursery class special focus is given in rhymes, because in that way you can easily remember the poem. You can still remember Jack and Jill went up the hill. See, Jack and Jill went up the hill. Jill and hill, they sound similar or not? Like Baba black sheep, have you any wool? Yes sir, 3 bags full. Now this is another time, but they also have rhymes, like wool and full. So these are the advantages of having rhymes. because they sound wonderful, and also they are easy to keep in mind, easy to remember. But it is not that in this poem, like they have the rhyming words must be written in a certain words. The rhyming words can be written in different ways, but they must have rhyming words. So it has a fixed pattern. Pattern means the way, the structure in which it is written of rhyme, which varies in this sonnet. So you will also get questions what is a sonnet, and those answers will be there in this video. So keep on watching the video, and I will tell you more about how this poem is a sonnet by showing you the poem. So keep on watching. Lesson 10, A Sea of Foliage. You see, it is a sonnet. How many lines are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And now I will show you how the words rhyme in this poem. Round, green, seen, abound. So as the poem is divided into 4 sections, so here the first quatrain, 1, 2, 3, 4. The second quatrain, 1, 2, 3, 4. The third quatrain, and the last section consists of 2 lines. The first quatrain consists of 4 lines, the second 4 lines, the third 4 lines, and the last only 2 lines. So this is a sonnet. And how the words rhyme here, you see. Round, green, seen, abound. So round. In the first quatrain, the first and the last word, they rhyme, whereas the middle word, they rhyme. But here the structure is a bit different, the second quatrain. See, in the second quatrain, profound, between, lean, sound. Profound and sound, between, lean. And in the second, and different, ranges, moon, changes, soon. So ranges and changes, they rhyme. Moon and soon, they rhyme. And in the last section, gaze, amaze. So these are the rhyming words of the poem, and they have different structure. See here, round, green, seen, abound. Here, this first quatrain and the second quatrain, their structure of the rhyming words are same, whereas in the third quatrain it is a bit different. Here the middle 2 lines they end with the same rhyming word, and the first and the last line they will end with the same rhyming word. Here it is the same, but here they rhyme alternately. Ranges, then moon, changes, then soon. That means the second line and the fourth line, they rhyme when they end with the rhyming word, and the first and the third line, they end with the rhyming word. So this is the structure of the poem. This is the structure of a sonnet. And the other things, other qualities, I have already told you. So keep on watching. You will get some questions and answers here. Now please pause the video and take out your copies. There are some questions and you will have to find the answers. Please find the answers of the following questions. Question number 1. What is the name of the poet of A Sea of Foliage? Question number 2. When was Toru Datta born? Question number 3. What was the name of Toru Datta's father? Question number 4. How was Toru Datta first educated at home? Question number 5. Where did Toru Datta attend school first? Question number 6. In which languages did Toru Datta write? Question number 7. At what age and in which year did Toru Datta die? Question number 8. What is the name of the volume of French poems that Toru Datta published in her lifetime? Question number 9. How did Toru Datta die? Question number 10. What is a sonnet? Please show me the answers in the evening class.